Let's start with a question. What if a brand's most powerful asset isn't actually what it sells, but what it stands for? Today, we're going to dive into how linking purpose to profit has become this massive strategic advantage, and it goes way beyond just feeling good.
And that idea, that's really the heart of it all. This is about transforming customers from people who just buy your stuff into a real tribe of advocates. People who don't just purchase your product, they genuinely believe in your mission.
So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, think of it like this. A company and a nonprofit team up. They create a campaign where every time you buy something, a portion of that sale helps a cause. It's that classic win-win situation. The business gets a boost in sales, and the cause gets much-needed support and resources. Now, this is crucial. This whole thing isn't just about good PR or a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's a fundamental shift in how business gets done. And the return on investment? It's very real and totally measurable. So let's get into the numbers, because they're pretty telling. I mean, just look at this. The scale of this shift is huge. A whopping 77% of shoppers now actively prefer to buy from brands that are making a positive impact. And we're not talking about some small niche group of people here. This is the mainstream. This is the new normal.
So, what's behind all this? What's driving the change? At the end of the day, it all boils down to a search for authenticity. People today see social responsibility as a sign of a trustworthy, forward-thinking company. To put it simply, they want to put their money where their values are.
And the results for businesses are absolutely tangible. It's this incredible domino effect, right? It kicks off with a massive 40% jump in positive sentiment. That good feeling then helps boost brand loyalty by up to 30%. And that loyalty? That leads directly to a 25% increase in repeat purchases. It all connects. And get this, it's not just shoppers. The people with the big money, they're paying attention too. ESG funds, those are funds that focus on companies with strong environmental and social practices. They are consistently outperforming the old school funds by about 4 to 6% every single year. So yeah, the smart money is definitely on brands that stand for something. Okay, so the numbers and the theory are all well and good, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's break down how some of the world's biggest brands have turned this idea into a powerful engine for growth. First up, Patagonia. On Black Friday, of all days, the single biggest, most commercial shopping day of the year, they did something that just seemed insane. Instead of deep discounts, they promised to donate 100% of their sales to environmental groups. It was a bold, almost anti-business move.
And did that gamble pay off? Oh boy, did it. Of course, they raised over $100 million for the planet, which is amazing. But from a purely business standpoint, their repeat purchases shot up by 25%. Even more important, this one move cemented their identity. Patagonia wasn't just selling jackets anymore, they were leading a movement.
All right, let's talk about a true classic, Dove's campaign for real beauty. This wasn't some flash-in-the-pan campaign. For years, they've been partnering with nonprofits focused on self-esteem, tackling a really personal and culturally important issue head-on.
And the results have been just massive. We're talking about an extra $1.5 billion in sales. But that financial win is a direct result of the emotional connection they built. Positive sentiment went up 40%. They didn't just sell soap. They completely flipped the script on beauty standards and became a symbol of empowerment.
Now, you might be thinking, sure, this works for giant global brands. But Starbucks showed how this can work on a much more local level with their community store idea. In certain neighborhoods, they took a portion of their profits and focused on hiring locally, investing directly back into the community they were a part of. And you know what? The impact was felt right there, on the ground. Positive feelings toward the brand climbed 28% in those areas, which drove an 18% jump in sales. It's just a perfect example of how this kind of marketing can be tailored to make a real, measurable difference one community at a time.
So the potential here is pretty clear. But the big question is, how do you actually do this? How do you go from just an idea to your first campaign without it being this huge, complicated thing? Well, here's a simple, practical playbook to get you started.
It really breaks down into 4 simple steps. First, you got to do your homework. That's the audit. You need to really understand what your audience actually cares about. Second, pilot. Start small. Launch a little micro-campaign, maybe donating a percentage from just one product. Third, track. You have to measure everything. Sales, social media mentions, you name it. And finally, scale. Once you've found something that works, that's when you can confidently pour more resources into it and make it bigger.
So that's the plan. Seems simple enough, right? But hold on. There is one massive, classic mistake that can absolutely sink your entire effort, maybe even create a backlash.
What's the number one pitfall you have to avoid?
And here it is. It all comes down to one simple word: authenticity. It trumps everything else. Always. If you pick a cause that doesn't really line up with who you are as a brand, people will see right through it. It'll feel fake and opportunistic, and you'll destroy trust way faster than you could ever build it.
So to wrap this all up, what are the big takeaways? First, consumers today want to be champions for brands that have a real purpose. Second, the return on that investment is totally measurable. You can see it in loyalty, in sales, and in how people feel about you. And third, the way to get there is to start small, be authentic, and track everything.
So I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. At the end of the day, what is your brand's legacy going to be? Is it just going to be about what you sell? Or will it be about what you stand for? The answer to that question might just be your single greatest competitive advantage.